Each week, nearly a dozen movies are released theatrically. 40 films a month, more than 400 a year. That's a plethora of cinema. Too much cinema. You'd have to be an addict to see all that. But don't fret. We've got you covered. This is Cinematics.
Hey everyone, it's a new week of Cinematics. This is Cinematics episode 213. I am joined by my betters Bruce Purkey and Eric Holmes. How are you guys doing this week? Are you still energized after our Patreon recording? Bruce Purkey.
My mind is not feeling too magical, but I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right.
Very good. Not too magical right now. Maybe it might feel magical in a few moments. What about you, Eric Holmes? How are you feeling after that Patreon?
My mind is not feeling magical either, but had I not drank all those previously, maybe it would have been, because I was flying pretty high last week for sure.
You know, you're supposed to take one a day, right? Not all consecutively.
Yeah,
14.
Yeah, but they taste good. I couldn't help myself.
Okay.
We'll talk about it later. But I did the TFE top 5 game playthrough is up. Look up the Film Vaulters on YouTube. The playthrough went pretty well, and I got some great feedback, especially from Joseph Bridges. He had watched the playthrough, and he had a couple changes. One of which we're absolutely going to incorporate into the next playthrough. And if anyone else watches the video and they have any ideas to throw at me. So in the playtest, I mean, the game's more or less done, but there's no reason why we can't add and take away rules because it's not officially out yet. So,
no, thank you, Joseph Bridges, for all your input as you do on a daily basis. It seems like a daily basis on Cinematics, our Cinematics Facebook group. Joseph Bridges is one of our top reviewers, if not, dare I say, our top reviewer. I'm just going to say it right now. Joseph Bridges is our top reviewer. I don't know how many movie recommendations he's given us over the last, maybe 3-4 years. One a day. Has he given us 900 recommendations, Bruce? What do you think? Possibly, right?
Probably. I think he gave, in the last day, he's done at least, I want to say 3.
Yeah, he put out the peanut butter solution.
Yeah.
Peanut butter solution.
He did this short that I want to watch. It's called like Martians and Christmas or something weird like that. I need to check that one out. I don't know what it was.
So if you want to listen or check out Joseph Bridges' daily movie recommendations, he is a very astute and insightful film enthusiast. Become a member from our Cinematics Facebook group. I don't know if we're still the number of the beast at 666 right now. I don't know how many members we have, but a lot of, there you go. Throwing up the horns, Eric Holmes. We're a little bit punchy. We just finished our latest Patreon episode for the month of October. We spotlighted the films Under the Skin and Prisoners. And Bruce, just how did that episode go? Your thoughts?
I think it went well. I think we actually had some pretty good spoiler talk on it. And I think that they're just both such fine films that it was a lot of fun to go over. I think people really enjoy it. So if they're not Patreons and they have seen one or both of those movies, it's a fun discussion.
Yeah, it's a very fun discussion. $5 catch-all per month. You get the bonus episode. And even though it's sort of the way Anderson and I used to do it, what I wanted us to focus a little bit more now on this is a spoiler discussion. So like what Bruce was saying, with Prisoners and Under the Skin, we have some really good spoiler stuff. So if you want to check it out, check out our Cinematics Patreon. We also do our little mini reviews for both movies. We start off with mini reviews of the 2 movies we have, and then we get into spoiler discussions. That was we spotlighted the year in September. We spotlighted the year 2013, and that's why we picked Under the Skin. Bruce picked Under the Skin. The listener pick was Prisoners, and now for this month,
I'm sorry to inform you, but it's October.
Yeah. For September's bonus. Oh, right. October's bonus. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, Bruce. I'm sorry, listeners. Okay. I need some magic mind right now. Now, Eric Holmes is actually going. Look, Eric Holmes is doing the bonus for November. He is going to be spotlighting the year 1996. He has a couple of movie choices. Can you name those movie choices you have that maybe we might review?
Yeah, and also to be clear, I need to double, triple, and quadruple check them to make sure they came out the year that we're actually doing, because I did have an issue. But I'm thinking either Tromeo and Juliet, which I thought was directed by James Gunn. It's directed by Lloyd Kaufman. I think James Gunn wrote it. The other is the Pamela Anderson joint, Barbed Wire. I've never seen Barbed Wire, but it seems like it would be a fun kind of throwback to the kind of movies that were made around that time. So,
Yeah,
You know what? It'll be one of those two.
it'll be one of
I'll
those.
look, see what's streaming, what's not, and then we'll figure it out from there. But it's going to be one of those two.
Okay, and then the other choice will be from our Patreon members. So that's going to be really interesting. I'm very excited to watch Barbed Wire and Romeo and Juliet. I'm just kidding. I'm not excited to watch either movie, but it will be an exciting bonus episode because I think Eric's pumped up and Bruce is pumped up to see at least one of those two movies. Yes,
Greg, how about I look up which one's streaming and which one's shorter, and I'll go with the shorter one.
No, go with the one that you want that the listeners want for the bonus episode of not September, not October, yes, November. This is the reason why at my age, at 52, my brain gets a little bit fuzzy. I remember about a year and a half ago, Anderson Cowan, who is currently finishing, he did a recent shoot of his Loaded for Bear documentary. He did a short version of it. He's actually going to do a narrative feature as well as a documentary. A lot of stuff under that Loaded for Bear universe. I think you can go to loadedforbeardoc.com, right? Yeah, loadedforbeardoc.com to actually find more information on Anderson stuff. But anyways, a year and a half ago, Anderson hooked me up with some samples of this thing called Magic Mind. And it is, I would call it's sort of a supplement or a complement. It could be either a complementary situation or a way to supplant your addiction to possibly caffeine. At the time, a year and a half ago, I was drinking just a ton of coffee, maybe 3 cups of coffee a day. And then when Anderson brought these samples from Magic Mind, it's sort of a matcha-based supplement, and it's a sort of they're in these little eco-friendly vials, and you just take one, you just down it. You don't take 14 of them, like I think Eric Holmes did. You didn't do that, Eric. I'm just joking, but you take one a day, and it can be as a complement to your coffee or a complement to your tea. But what I did was I used it as sort of to replace coffee. And what's interesting is during that journey of actually, I think maybe even a couple of weeks of taking Magic Mind once a day without coffee, to this day, I'm not a coffee drinker. Like literally, I'm not a coffee drinker. A year and a half ago, it really turned the page in my life. Now I drink tea on a daily basis. And now I think it's I'm going to have a whole bunch of samples coming to my door, to my address in about a couple of days. And I'll be trying them out. And again, it's been a year and a half, but I really enjoyed it. It really supplanted my own caffeine addiction to coffee. And I felt more alert and more alive during the process, during that time with Anderson and talking about Magic Mind. What about you, Eric? You actually, what did you do? You actually downed everything, or kidding aside, you over several days, what did you do with Magic Mind?
So it came in, and I forgot that we're getting those, and I got a box, and I was like, "What's this?" And I opened it up. It's like, "Oh, okay, that's the thing we're doing." So I'll try one, and you got to like shake it up because there's a lot of sediment that goes on the bottom,
right?
And I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but I took one, and they had 2 different kinds. They had the regular kind, and then they had like the not sugar free, but it had like less sugar in it, I guess. Which oddly enough, that one was sweeter than the other one. The other one had more of a tangy taste, and I took the regular one, took the shot of that, and it had a weird flavor to it. But it's kind of like do you ever taste something that kind of takes you back, but then you kind of settle into it, and it's like, ooh, I like this.
Yeah.
And so I took the one on the one day. The next day, I took another one, and I wanted to. That's when I kind of started warming up to the flavor. I was like, I need another one of these. Took that, and I also had a hangover the previous day because I was partying pretty hard. And I cannot speak to the medical benefits of this, but what I can say is about a half hour after taking it, that hangover was leveling off pretty quick, a lot quicker than normal. So whether that was from the shot or maybe it's got some sort of placebo thing, I don't know, but I can tell you that definitely helped with the hangover. I love the flavor of it. And then the third day, I pretty much went through all the rest of them.
No, and wrong way to do it, but you like the taste. You know what? I think one of its things is supposed to keep your mind focused, reduce your stress and anxiety. Obviously, your addiction to coffee and caffeine. So I've gone on and on about how much I really love Magic Mind. Sponsorship aside, I just really enjoy this. And we're here just before we get to our reviews of this week. Bruce Perky, you are the
Yes.
only person who has not tried Magic Mind.
Yes.
Show it on the camera slowly. What the vials look like? There,
All right, this
they're
little
really
thing like
cute.
this.
Okay, and Bruce is gonna down a Magic Mind, and he's gonna
Yeah.
give his reaction to.
I'm the guinea pig here.
Let's see if he spit takes. Does it spit take? Or
Don't make me laugh.
does
I
it?
will spit take. You make me
Okay,
laugh.
Okay.
Now I can't even drink it because you're making me laugh.
Okay.
All right, you keep talking. I'll do this.
Okay. So let's see. Hopefully, Bruce is. You don't have to down the whole thing. Yeah, there you go. He's taking down the matcha green tea flavor, the matcha flavor.
It's juicier and tangier than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, you got
it's-
the he's got the normal one.
That's the one I didn't try the other versions. I've always tried the normal one. So for me, it was tasty, interesting taste, and it's supposed to keep your mind.
Yeah, it's
alert
not
and
that.
focused.
It's good. It's not strong matcha flavor because I've had matcha lattes and things before, which straight matcha is kind of more grassy tasting than this is. This just has more of a hint of matcha to me. And I feel like I taste a little bit of grapefruit, almost like grapefruit juice. Almost what it tastes like.
A little bit.
So kind of citrusy, tangy. Yeah, it's good. It's tasty.
You know what, Bruce? You should have been one of those, not a wine sommelier, one of those wine enthusiasts who you just.
Yeah, but then I have to spit it out, so I don't do that. So no, that's good stuff.
Okay.
Like he said, I don't know about the benefits per se, and I've just had it for the first time here. But yeah, I like it, and I tend to like things that are more tangy, kind of citrusy. I don't like things that are super duper sweet. So for me, that's good. So
Okay,
it's pretty
well,
awesome.
thanks again to Magic Mind for supplying us with the samples, and yeah, hopefully you'll see some for you actually, Eric. I think you're drinking some apple juice right now to help with your hangover, and for me as a blogger, podcaster, and my mind is on the screen all day. I use it just to actually clear my mind and focus on the task at hand. Thanks again to Magic Mind. Yes.
I wonder if they have like full drinks of that. Like, because I know the ones we got were like the kind of like, for those who can only hear us and not see us, they're about the size of like the 5-hour energy drinks that you get at the store. I wonder if they'd have like full on drinks of these. Because I could do like a full pint glass of this, but I'm guessing a full pint glass of the shots probably wouldn't be a good idea. But maybe if they had like a diluted version where they could get a full drink, I would definitely be down for that because I do love the flavor of it.
You could petition. It's a 2-ounce shot right now. Yes, Bruce, but maybe who knows?
One last thing I just wanted to mention, because I'm the only one that drank this today on the show. Obviously, my reviews are the only ones that are worth listening to today. Mine are the correct ones. So just saying.
Very good. It's not just Magic Mind. I think Eric and I will concur. We're talking about movie reviews as well. So just know that you're the trusted. Is Bruce the trusted voice of reason on our Cinematics pod?
He is, but also
Wait.
I wouldn't be against talking about Magic Mind for the rest of the show.
Okay, well that will be a no because we have movies to get to here on Cinematics, and where it's actually interesting. We will have some very big disagreements. The movies covered are Suitable Flesh, Pain Hustlers. It's a Netflix movie. Borica, Queen of War, and then Eric will recommend another feature called, or maybe not. It's a movie called Inspector Sun. I think that's an animated film. Let's just cut all the fat right now. We have Suitable Flesh. It's directed by Joe Lynch. It is an adaptation, I believe, of a story by, my mind is blanking. I need that Magic Mind right now. H.P. Lovecraft. It is based on a story by H.P. Lovecraft. Before he passed, Stuart Gordon, the director of Reanimator and From Beyond, was working on the script, or maybe going to shoot something like Suitable Flesh. Stuart Gordon has since passed. Rest in peace. Joe Lynch took over. And what's interesting about Suitable Flesh is it's set within that Reanimator universe. Barbara Crampton from the original film, she plays a big role in this movie. She's also a producer. Very interesting film, and it centers on a psychiatrist played by Heather Graham, and she's living seemingly the nice life. She has a successful practice. Her husband is Jonathan Check, so she has a really good-looking husband. They live in a nice home. Everything's hunky-dory. But the thing is, she needs a little bit of sort of an excitement in her life. She wants maybe a little bit of a change in her life. That's sort of inferred. In walks this interesting, mysterious figure who claims that he does not want to answer his flip phone because someone on the other line has power over him, and she's wondering what's going on. Why is this young man going crazy a little bit and very unstable in my office? And then, so even though she actually breaks the cardinal sin of not visiting the patient at his or her domicile. She visits this young man at his house, and at his house is presumably, maybe, is it his father or grandfather, played by Bruce Davison? I love Bruce Davison. And that's when everything starts unfolding. We can say that Suitable Flesh is a body swap horror movie with comedic elements. And it's a very interesting film. I really loved it. I felt it was in the spirit of Reanimator and From Beyond. And I loved Joe Lynch's direction all around. I thought Heather Graham was fantastic. I have so many great things to say about this movie. But before we get to what I have to say, let's get to what Bruce has to say about Suitable Flesh. Was this movie suitable for you?
Overall, no. But let me preface this by saying everything that I'm going to say in criticism to this movie, could be said in criticism to a movie that I liked later on. So a big part of this is whether the particular tone of this movie works for you or not. I guess that's kind of my big caveat on the front end of this. The problem I have with this movie is it kind of has its foot in two sort of subgenres, right? It's got itself in the H.P. Lovecraft, Reanimator, From Beyond, kind of, what would you say, B-movie, kind of possession-y sort of genre. And then on the other side of that, and the people are saying things like body horror, which I think is misleading because there is hardly anything like that in here. And on the other side, it's kind of this 90s Red Shoes Diary, Skinamax, sexploitation-y sort of movie too. The problem I have, and once again, you can levy these problems right at the other movie I like later this week, but it isn't enough of a horror movie to really be as fun as it needs to be. Like, I needed some good gore effects, some weird transformations, maybe some creature effects or something. And it's pretty tame for trying to be this kind of weird sex thriller thing that it definitely wants to be. Because I mean, what are there? At least four, maybe 5 sex scenes in here, and they're all pretty darn tame. And that's not to say that like actresses and actors have to necessarily show a lot of nudity and stuff, but this movie, if you're going to dip your toe in that pool, that kind of exploitation pool, you might as well go for it. Let's do it. Let's go all the way. And the movie is just, it's shot, I think this is purposeful too in some ways. It's shot in this really kind of bland 90s, like cheapo looking movie style. And I didn't just feel like it never really fully stepped into camp either. Like it's tiptoeing around camp, but it's not going all the way. So that's my biggest problem, is that it's half-hearted in every way. That was my big criticism.
Do you feel the movie's just pure homage, and by doing that, it sort of cripples its own sort of potential, maybe?
It doesn't homage. What is it homaging? If it's homaging those other Lovecraft movies, those Lovecraft movies were full of weird, creative, practical effects and gore and over-the-top moments all throughout. Nothing like that in here. And they were in their own B-movie way, they were super stylish. I mean, this is nothing like that. This is not even a hint of that.
Okay. Wow. Eric Holmes, where do you land on this?
So at first I really did not like this, just because it's the way they portray mental health patients and professionals. I thought was completely irresponsible. And then as the movie goes on, I was like, oh, this movie's not to be taken seriously. Then we're good. We're good. I did like that the one of the characters was wearing a Faith No More shirt, and I guess Joe Lynch also directed a Faith No More video, so that's probably why that's in there. That was cool. You had the split diopter, which Greg likes, because and that also kind of led me to think of like Brian De Palma movies just in general, especially Brian De Palma's more trashier movies, where
like
it's
Body Double.
Yeah, and I didn't take the magic mine. What's the one with Jonathan Lithgow?
Oh yeah, Raising Cain.
Raising Cain. This reminded me a lot of Raising Cain. It's probably a bloodier version of it, because although Bruce mentioned like the gore effects weren't quite there, there was some parts where it gets pretty bloody, especially towards the end. But this is pretty much a B movie. It felt like if Brian De Palma like 80s Brian De Palma was doing a B movie of a H.P. Lovecraft story.
Yeah.
It's probably what it would look like. Which is weird that Stuart Gordon was supposed to do this, because I didn't get much Stuart Gordon out of this. Definitely more Brian De Palma. In spite of all that, it's definitely sexploitational. I think I mentioned to you guys when I was halfway through a message, was like, what even is a sex scene? And then Bruce said you could use that to describe the entire movie. But there's I wonder, is this, Bruce, is this like a 1-star banger? Is this pretty much what a 1-star banger is?
There's a lot of banging. Nah, yeah, I don't think it's that bad, honestly. I just think it's, no, for me it wouldn't be, but I could see people thinking of it as 1-star banger. I don't, like I said, I don't think it doesn't go hard enough in the camp for me to be a 1-star banger.
Because on one hand, this feels like intentionally bad.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't. Like
right.
There's a lot of stuff that seem like they know pretty well what they're doing. So like my problems with it early on, as the movie went, those problems went away, because I just kind of, this is what this movie is. So those issues I had early on, like, no one's gonna watch this and go, oh, this is how mental health professionals act. This is how mental health patients act. We talked about the Sam Fuller movie of an indictment on not so much. It's an indictment, not so much on those type of places, the mental health facilities, but rather how mental health facilities are portrayed in movies. Sam Fuller's Shot Corridor was an indictment on movies like this. Pretty much unrealistic portrayals of that. But this was a strange movie, kind of not good, but also kind of dug it. Like it was almost so stupid and silly. I was just kind of rolling with it. And I also feel that that's kind of the movie they were trying to make.
Yeah. I fell hook, line, and sinker for this movie. I love it. I'm going to watch it again. Heather Graham, I love her as an actress. I think this is one of her best performances. Barbara Crampton, fantastic in this movie. Bruce Davison, who is just an institution in and of himself. He has a really cool, sort of a relative cameo, and he's really great at acting over the top. Just loved everything about Suitable Flesh. And yeah, I think this is completely, for me, Suitable Flesh, which is in theaters and everywhere you rent movies on October 27th. This gets an easy 4.5 out of 5 for me for Suitable Flesh. What is your rating, Bruce Berkey?
2 stars.
2 stars for Bruce. And Eric, what's your rating?
Oh, geez, I don't know.
What? Throw it down.
That's just it. Like, one part of me wants to go like 3-star banger. The other part of me wants to go 1 star. And then there's another part of me that's like, they made the exact movie they wanted to, so it's got to be 5 stars. Like,
what is your rating? Not about what they're thinking about with the 5 stars. So that's definitely out about what their intent is. Who cares what their intent is? But what is your you either wasted, it was a waste of your time, like Bruce.
Definitely didn't waste my time.
3-star.
You know what? I'll go 3-star banger on this.
3-star banger on Suitable.
Yeah, because I think this is not a good movie.
I think it's
it kind of is.
I think it's
it's
a great movie. Yeah, it's a great movie. Brian De Palma meets H.P. Lovecraft, even though Bruce says it doesn't go all the way. I mean, I will take
what it needed to be. It needed this. I'm butting in now. It needed to be, how towards the end when they start going all over the place in different people's bodies.
Yeah.
That's what it needed to be all the way through. It needed to be that wacky.
2 stars for Bruce, 4.5 for me, 3-star banger for Eric Holmes as Suitable Flesh. Again, October 27th in theaters and also available everywhere you rent movies, I believe. So now let's get to Pain Hustlers. It was in theaters last week, but it's going to be on Netflix Friday, October 27th. And it centers on Emily Blunt. She plays Liza Drake, and she's a single mom, blue collar. And we catch her at the beginning of the movie. She's working at a strip club as a dancer. She needs to make money. Lo and behold, she meets a pharma sales rep played by Chris Evans at the strip club. And they get to talking. And he gives her an opportunity like, hey, come work for me. And you're going to start making a lot more money than this joint you're working in right now. She follows suit because she is a single mom with a daughter who has a medical condition. Her daughter is played by Chloe Coleman. Very good in this movie as well. Everyone's pretty good in this movie. I liked how Chris Evans, a.k.a. Captain America, he is the second in command, the second lead in this movie, but he's really not a lead. He doesn't have as big of a role as you would think when you think Emily Blunt and Chris Evans. It's not an Emily Blunt and Chris Evans movie. It's an Emily Blunt headline film because it really follows her journey from becoming a blue-collar single mom to becoming a white-collar pharma sales rep. And from this vantage point, you get to see the whole either corruption, you can either say corruption or the capitalistic nuances of this pharma industry. You get to see it through her eyes. And this movie is inspired by a true story and it's based on the book by Evan Hughes, Pain Hustlers. The movie is getting slightly mixed reviews. Bruce, did the flash and dash, as well as possibly the education of Pain Hustlers, work for you, or was it an empty caloric experience?
Leaning more towards empty caloric experience. I just kept thinking Wolf of Wall Street light. It's not the same subject, but it kind of tries to play in that same space. This kind of this story we've seen versions of before, right? The rise of somebody in a semi or totally shady endeavor and how they kind of build an empire, the rise and fall. It's like, yeah, Wolf of Wall Street meets Scarface with none of the bite of either of those. And I didn't even like Wolf of Wall Street. This is kind of that, once again, that perfect storm of a Netflix movie. You know, decent performances, decent production values, entertaining enough. Like, this is one of those kind of movies you could show your somewhat open-minded mom, have an okay time watching it, but it's definitely empty calories for me. Like, I watched this less than a week ago and I've forgotten a good chunk of it. I do remember being kind of distracted by Chris Evans' performance. It's a little try hard.
Try hard, over the top with the accent and everything.
I think he's been doing that lately on his side projects that have been on Netflix. He's been really trying to be different kind of characters. I don't know if he has that much in him. I don't really know if he's quite that flexible. He's likable enough, but I think he's just trying a little hard. You know, I think you just be what you are and do it.
Movies directed by David Yates. Sorry, Bruce. Movies directed by David Yates. He's best known for a bunch of Harry Potter movies, a couple of those Fantastic Beasts films. This movie, actually, Pain Hustlers, I don't know much about the pharma industry. I haven't seen Dope Sick. I'm not a big reader. I did watch the Netflix series Painkiller, gave me some added value. This movie, on an education level, gave me some added value about how doctors can, by writing some scripts, they can be part of a speaking engagement to no matter what place in the world you are and get paid for their speaking engagements. And that's how some of these doctors made their money on writing these scripts for a lot of these pharma companies. It's sort of you get to sort of that corruption stuff in Pain Hustlers. I thought that was value added, but sure. I have to agree with you, Bruce. Emily Blunt is very good in the movie, but other than that, I just felt like this was I
liked her daughter too. I liked her daughter.
Daughter was great, but the ending has to pack a knockout punch, and it just goes by the book. It's just so predictable what's going to happen. I just saw that coming a million miles away, and the way it's shot and done it didn't leave an impact. It should have. And it also,
tell me what you think about this. So it takes something that is really serious for a lot of people. Like the downside of what they're doing is super serious and super dire for a ton of people. And it's taken with a real light touch. And I think that's kind of a problem with this movie too.
Well, look, I think the light touch is maybe a problem. I just don't feel that the light touch didn't work for me.
That's what I mean. Like it wasn't hard.
Was it funny?
It became just kind of like, what are we supposed to? So we're just kind of following her, and it's kind of just this rise and fall, and it's like, yeah, okay. It's just like it didn't really do much for me either. Too. I will
say this just for the education level, the Emily Blunt performance, and like you said, the daughter played by Chloe Coleman. This gets a mild recommendation, meaning if it's on, if you're looking for something to watch on Netflix, and you said the words entertaining enough.
Yeah.
So for me, entertaining enough is 3 stars. Mild recommendation for me for Pain Hustlers. Your rating, Bruce?
I'll probably go 2.5 because I guess the measure I would give this is if I started watching it, would I keep watching it? And I probably wouldn't. I'd probably fade away from it and not come back. So 2.5.
Yes. Okay. So
sorry, it's true.
You're giving me a lot of Pain Hustling this week, Bruce, on that. Okay. So again, Pain Hustlers, it was in select theaters on Friday, October 27th. Tell us what you think of this Netflix film. Thanks again, Netflix, for the screening links for me and Bruce. Next up is Boudica, Queen of War, stars Olga Kurylenko as Queen Boudica, the warrior queen. She leads a fierce rebellion against the Roman Empire. The movie is directed by Jesse V. Johnson. It also stars Clive Standen, who plays Queen Boudica's husband, and some really interesting character actors as well in this movie. The running time is 100 minutes, but actually it's really 95 minutes when the end credits are pretty long. Again, directed by Jesse V. Johnson. Eric Holmes, you interviewed Jesse V. Johnson this week. You're a huge Jesse V. Johnson fan. You know what, Bruce? I don't know. I'm glad you didn't see this movie, but who knows? I think you might have kind of liked this movie. Eric, what did you think of this movie, Boudica, Queen of War?
Loved it.
Yeah, loved it.
I don't know there was much of an interview with Jesse V. Johnson as much as it was me, Chris Farlingham. Dude, you're so good. I love you. Look, if you're like me and you're a fan of Jesse V. Johnson, you know exactly what to expect. It's just great action, just completely badass, and with story and characters. And yeah, I don't know. Where do I start?
No, that's it. Yeah, no, this movie, here's the thing. It hits theaters Friday, October 27th. But it's also going to be on demand and digital.
I really wish I could see this. In fact, I'm going to check to see if this is playing in a theater near me. Probably not, but I would say if it is playing in a theater near you, definitely check it out, because this has, if you ever seen The Woman King, this has a lot in common with that. As far as Jesse V. Johnson movies go, if you like the Hell Hath No Fury, this is more that version of Jesse V. Johnson as opposed to like the Debt Collector movies. But then like the fights, oh my God, when especially in the last half when Boudica is in, like she starts off as kind of like a typical like housewife mother type role, and then as the movie goes on, she becomes more and more like I don't know, would be a good
Queen of War. She becomes a Queen of War.
She becomes a Queen of War and just gets. Oh man, the action scenes and the war scenes towards the last half are just insane. Just especially how she just goes full on beast mode. Like just goes in with the sword and like gets him right in the shoulder and like goes down his body, and like they got one guy like he'll like knee someone in the stomach, they'll bend over and like bite the back of his neck off. Like it gets pretty bloody and pretty visceral. If you like those type of movies, which I do, so good on me for that. Yeah. This is definitely top tier Jesse V. Johnson, and if you're not a fan of his, I don't know what's wrong with you, but you know maybe this wouldn't be for you. If you are a fan of Jesse V. Johnson, this one's a no-brainer. Absolutely, check this one out.
Bruce, when you were a kid, did you ever collect, or Eric, did you ever collect comic books? Any of you guys collect comic books when you were a kid?
Spawn and Plastic Forks were the only two that I really did.
When I was a kid, one of the biggest things for me, just 8 or 9 years old, going to the local 7-Eleven, there would be a comic book rack, and there would be all these different comics, and I'd get to swing it and pick which one I'd want. Jesse V. Johnson, he was talking to you about not following the zeitgeist and just sort of making movies he wants to make, and I think that's how I feel about when I see Jesse V. Johnson movies. It's like picking different comics out of the rack. He has so many different kind of movies to enjoy, and this is just, to me, a great film. It's the fact that he doesn't have $100 million to shoot this epic, and even with that, it's a very interesting film. It's not a warning, but I just want to set you guys up for this. Boudica, Queen of War, it's 60 minutes of lead up, and it's good storytelling. Okay, so you're gonna get 60 minutes of story, and before you roll your eyes, again, it's solid storytelling. But then the last 35 minutes, wall-to-wall action with any kind of breathing. So it really hit home for me. I really enjoyed it, and I'm so glad. This is, again, for me, it's top tier Jesse V. Johnson level, like just as good, if not better than Hell Hath No Fury. I think both of them are on the same level. My rating is 4.5 stars. What's your rating, Eric?
Mine's probably the same, veering on 5 stars. Actually, probably veering on 6.9 stars. But I'll probably go 4.5. I also want to point out that Olga Kurylenko,
amazing.
She needs to be in more action movies. The way Jesse V. Johnson used her in this movie was just insane. Like just the way her character developed from the beginning of the movie to they're two different people.
Yeah.
Like you put her side by side. Those aren't the same person. Yeah, they are. This is just the one person going through some crap and then ended up like this. But Olga Kurylenko, especially during the action scenes, I'm like, why is she not in more action movies? Why is Jesse B. Johnson not doing more?
Yes, you're right.
Theatrical action movies like these. And these two are working together. They got I don't have the name of it in front of me, but they got another movie coming out pretty soon, and I'm in for it. But this movie is fantastic.
We also have to mention it's written and directed by Jesse B. Johnson. We both love him. Actually, I think Eric, me and Eric really love him. I think Bruce actually gave him a pass. I liked him as well because I think Bruce gave a positive review back in the day for Avengement. I think Bruce liked Avengement as well. So that's it. Boudica, Queen of War in theaters Friday, October 27th, on demand and on digital. Our final feature of the episode is Inspector Sun. Should people see this animated film, Eric?
Adults might not, but I think kids would like this. So this is basically a animated James Bond movie with like insects, pretty much. The CGI is it's not nearly as good as like a Pixar movie, but I think this is also I'm not sure where this production company it's not American. It's not an American movie for sure. I think this might be twice removed from me. One, I'm not a kid, so I don't really respond to kids movies. And two, this is done as a comedy with like where the comedy is from a different country, so maybe it has a different it works for people in different areas than maybe it does here. As you know, beyond that, this movie's incredibly cute. I think kids would like it. This one also is hard to this one's hard to give a star rating on because I'm not 10 years old, so it's hard to judge it on that metric. But I think your kids might like it. Depending on how they take animation and comedy. I think it's cute enough. And I think kids would dig it, and give it a shot. I think for me, this would be like a 1.5, 2-star movie, but 10-year-old me, this might be a 4.5 star movie. So I guess that's where 3-star banger lives. But it's a kids movie. Show your kids. I think they dig it. Adults, maybe not. Who knows?
Okay. Ronny Chieng is a very funny comedian. He plays Inspector Sun, the aforementioned Inspector Sun. He is fired from his detective job, but then another case pops into his life, and then, quote, Sun must find his suspect before it's too late. So anyways, he's trying to save this doctor named Dr. Spindlethorpe. That is Inspector Sun in theaters October 27th. Before we end this episode, Bruce, do you have one recommendation to lead us out here?
Two quick ones, actually, but I'll do it very quick. One, I'm just going to say Trick or Treat. It's really well known now, but it is a fantastic anthology that is still available out there. It's streaming in various places, and you should check it out if you haven't. Anna Paquin, Brian Cox, Dylan Baker, and a bunch of other people are in it. One thing that's unique about it, I'll just say, first of all, it's super Halloween based, which is great. It's fun, and it's I wouldn't say it's family friendly, but it's not going to disturb you. But it's a pretty fun horror movie for people who like pretty solid meat and potatoes horror. What I like about it is most anthologies are like, you have a story, there's something between them, a story, something between them, a story, something between them. All the stories here interweave with each other on the same night so that all the characters are in the same world at the same time, crossing paths. And you kind of you'll cross paths, you'll follow someone else on one of the stories, and then you'll come back and cross paths again and follow someone else on one of the other stories. So it's a lot of fun in that way. So good movie. And then this one is the one I was talking about earlier. This is the one where all the things I said about Suitable Flesh, you could say about this movie. I liked it. It worked for me. I will say, as a very big warning, most of the people on our Cinematics group so far that have watched it did not like it. I am a weird special case, I guess. I'd expected to hate Slaughterhouse, which is on Hulu right now, and I ended up quite enjoying Slaughterhouse. It is one of those self-aware, silly movies, but it worked for a couple reasons. One is the story that's not sloth-based is almost like one of those Disney tween movies, like the Zombies or one of those kind of things that you get. Super shiny, bright and silly. And that setting for this movie worked really well for me. Will probably grate on a lot of people, but my kid and I like to make fun of those kind of movies. So it does that kind of movie pretty well. And then you take that kind of movie in a sorority, basically, where you have a young woman trying to vie for sorority president. And the way she decides to do that is she has a meet cute with a guy in a mall. He just happens to be an exotic animal person. He tells her, come and get this sloth and it'll make you really popular. So she does, not knowing that the sloth has already killed him when she gets the sloth. She gets the sloth, becomes a hit, and then the sloth decides it wants to be the most popular thing, so it starts to kill everybody in the sorority.
Is this movie clever for you? Is it a clever film?
No, it's not. It's stupid. But it's knowingly stupid. And here is the kicker. These kind of movies, they're going to be dumb, right? They're going to be self-aware. You know, these are the kind of movies that can be like a Sharknado kind of movie, right? But what this movie, I think, does, it's a little better than those movies. For my taste, once again, this is very much my taste. First of all, it has a puppet. The sloth is a puppet. It's not CGI ever. And everything and you're saying like, well, they're going to have a puppet. They're not going to show it very much, right? No, they show the hell out of this damn puppet. This puppet is in all over the place in this movie. They're like, we got a puppet. We're going to use it. That's basically the attitude of this movie. It's like, is it going to drive a car? Yeah, it's going to drive a car. Is it going to get involved in social media? Mm-hmm. Yep, it is. Is it going to wield knives and things? Maybe guns? Sure. Why not? So I was all over this movie. I quite enjoyed it.
Would you call it a gem?
Maybe an artificial gem.
Artificial. You know what? You better call it a gem, because I feel like you're really, look, it says Slaughterhouse, subtitle featuring Alpha the Killer Sloth. So.
Yeah, I expected, Alpha, because it gets named after the Greek, letters, because they're a sorority. I expected to hate this movie, and I don't usually like this movie. I expected to bail after 5 or 10 minutes, and I ended up quite loving this movie.
What is your rating on Sloth? Bruce?
4 stars.
4 stars? What a great recommendation. What is Eric Holmes going to rate it, you think?
It's a tone thing, right? He might hate this movie. I think no matter what, he will appreciate the silliness of an actual puppet sloth being throughout this movie. I think that will scratch a little bit of the Gremlins itch for him.
You might be right.
But he could hate it as well.
Will I hate Slaughterhouse, Bruce?
I don't know. I don't know, man.
You don't know about me. It's mysterious as the killers or the killer in Suitable Flesh. Am I as mysterious as that youth?
Hey, Greg. Greg, why don't you ask me what you'll think of Slaughterhouse?
Oh, I know. You're going to say 4 stars, right? You're going to say 4 stars. I'm going to give it 4 stars.
I gave it 4 stars.
No, not at all.
What am I going to give? What am I going to give Slaughterhouse?
4 stars.
Okay, very good. Very good. That is a rim shot. We are out of here. Thank you guys so much for supporting us here on Cinematics, as well as our Patreon. You can there are Amazon links in our show notes. If you shop via Amazon, everyone, including Anderson, will get a cut. And I don't know, anything else we need to plug, Eric or Bruce, before we go? Eric, first.
A couple things. Next week, we will talk about a movie called Getaway If You Can. I did an interview with Terrence Martin, the writer and director of it. Definitely check out the movie. And I'm kind of curious, Greg, Bruce, if you have time, definitely check it out, because this seems like one of those movies where you guys would love and I would hate, but I actually kind of like this one. So I'm kind of curious where you guys would land on this.
Also, have you ever seen this movie called Dead Calm? Not kidding. Dead Calm, Philip Noyce?
I don't know if I have or not.
Dead Calm's amazing.
I didn't take my magic mind tonight.
Okay. You are a bitch,
Nicole
man.
Kidman, very early Nicole Kidman.
The trailer
I don't think I have.
The trailer for Getaway, if you can, reminded me of it. I'm sorry, Bruce. Go ahead.
I was just saying, Eric needs to see Dead Calm like yesterday. Seriously.
Oh my gosh! Oh
Seriously,
yes.
Love it.
Yes. You right up Eric's wheelhouse on Dead Calm. Okay, so that's it. And you said there's one more, Eric.
Yeah, I also wanted to give a shout out to a new friend I made this weekend.
We don't talk about friends. Wait, hello.
I'm just saying, Mackenzie Franklin. He does a YouTube channel called Side Game LLC. And it's a YouTube channel, board game YouTube channel I watched for a while. And I found out recently they lived in Colorado Springs. So I reached out to him and was like, hey, if you ever play a game, let me know. And it's like, actually, we're playing this weekend. And it was on my birthday. We got to play Blood on the Clock Tower and Zombicide. And he was a really cool guy. Met a bunch of cool people at this gaming thing. So I wanted to give a shout out to him and his YouTube channel, Side Game LLC. Go check it out.
LLC, has that video been out yet? As far as you're playing?
I'm not on any of the videos. It was just a YouTube channel that I watched, and I just found out he lived where I do. So we hooked up, and he gave me a very wonderful day on my birthday. So thank you, Mackenzie, cool. And hopefully we'll play again in the future.
Okay, you know what? I will put a link to Side Game LLC on our show notes. It's great that you have friends, Eric. Bruce and I, we prefer not to have friends. Am I correct on this, Bruce?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, before we go, Bruce, final plug or to mention?
Yeah, final plug. I believe if you live in a major movie market, you may be able to catch the new David Fincher movie in the theater this weekend. I believe it's only in a few spots, and then it's going to drop on Netflix in a couple weeks. When Evil Lurks drops this week on Shudder, you should watch it. If you are a horror fan, it is probably one of the best horror movies of the year. It will F you up. Even if you're a hardened horror fan, you will find something in there that will mess you up.
Oh, a week later, are you still messed up from When Evil Lurks?
It's gone from 4.5 to 5 stars. Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, Eric, you wanted to say something?
I believe Five Nights at Freddy's comes out this weekend as well.
I will be seeing it tomorrow with my boys.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. My niece and nephew definitely want to watch that as well.
Okay, we will have reviews of the movie. Five Nights at
Freddy's.
Five Nights at Freddy's review next week here.
Fab Five Freddy's, Nights at Freddy's.
Nights at Freddy's. Hopefully
Fab Five Freddy.
At night.
Hopefully they're downing Magic Mind stuff as well. We will see you guys next week here on Cinematics. Thank you so much for your support. And of course, here's Claire.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for joining Cinematics.